Welcome to Dice Control Dojo. I'm Phil, and I practice daily and share my tips so we can all do better at the casino. Today, we have an extra special video, and I am hoping it's going to go well. It could go extremely well, or it could be a disaster. So today I'm going to do the entire 1 hour video of me practicing every day. This is what I do every morning when I get up at 4:30. It's a little later in the day today so that I could get some light on here. Sometimes before I make my videos, the lighting's a little off, so I wanted to have a full hour without the sun coming up and screwing up all the lights. So today we're going to go over my entire practice. I'm hopefully not going to bore you with it, but my thoughts are on this is that those who are starting to practice, this is day 40 of my 90 days. If you're going to do 60 days before you go somewhere, 30 days before you go somewhere, here's a guide from beginning to end of what I do, and you can adapt to it. Maybe you could, hopefully in the future, put this video on and go with me in my journey every day and share your tips when you watch it on what you do to practice each day. So with that, I'm going to start. So every morning I warm up my hands. We talk about the hand warm up in one of our videos. I'm just making sure that they're ready to go. It's weird with my fingers too every day, and this is something I have in a future video, is sometimes I have to go wash my hands because they're either sticky or they're too clean to throw dice, and they slip out of my hands a lot. So with that, I rub my hands a lot. I go to the bathroom before I start and I wash my hands really well, and hopefully that doesn't cause my fingers to some days they just don't feel well, so I may stop the video, go wash my hands again, and try and get a nice feel so that the dice aren't slipping out of my hands. But today they're okay. This morning, before I started practicing the practice, my hands were a little weird, so I'm getting back to that. So here's the sun coming out, just exactly what I was hoping it wasn't going to do today. So we rub the hands, we stretch them. I take about 3 minutes to do this, making sure my hands are ready to go, pulling the fingers, and you should practice that. And then what I learned from going to massage, the massage therapist was an exercise science therapist, and she was recommending that I do some stretches with my back and making sure that my back is fully stretched, because when I started doing this on a day-to-day basis for a full hour, my back was killing me. She worked out the kinks on that, but suggested that I, do some twists. I can get my shoulders going, my fingers. I'm trying to do as much as possible at the same time to kind of cut to the chase, so I'm not wasting my whole morning warming up. So make sure your back is good and loosened up, because everything that we do, if something's a little tense, is obviously gonna screw up your throw. It's just microscopic. So I massaged them, pulled out my muscles and my shoulders, and got everything stretched out and hopefully ready to go for the morning. So the next thing I do is I grab my gripper. And you don't have to have a gripper, but you should have an idea of where you would like your dice to be on your pickup, right? So even if you don't have one and you're going to be picking up, you want to practice the pickup to make sure you're doing it the same way. I try and save time, and I grab my dice from the pickup, and once again, I'm setting my dice up so that I have my circle, and I line the 2 fingers here These, the index finger and the middle finger, the line between them are right on the number 3, that pip, right on the edge of that pip. And then my thumb, I try and line up so that it is covering the 2 pips of the 5-5, and everything else I can still see. All the pips I can still see. So that's my current, and I say that because when I go, if I go get another coaching, we may switch it up a little bit to try and be more efficient. So I try and get this first one down to exactly where I want it. Once I have it where I do want it every morning, this is more for convenience so that I'm making sure that I'm picking up those dice the same way every time. And so I just mark it with a marker, with a pen, and I make a T in the middle, and then I make a mark on this side just to make sure. Then I come back to it because since I'm left-handed, it makes it very hard to draw. And I just reinforce these colors. This saves me time when I'm grabbing the dice 50 times. Just rub it on there. So this little marks right there make sure that I pick up the dice the same way each time. Now what I do, different from probably some previous videos, is I have all my dice, the amount of dice I'm practicing with, lined up here. And a good way to warm up your fingers is line these dice up, obviously. And by doing that, this is loosening up my fingers a little bit, trying to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I'm going to have these red ones on one side and the green on the other. Once again, we do that so we can see when we're throwing if the left is off or the right is off. And there we go. I kind of line them up. I have some older blue ones in here that kind of add to it. So now I did the gripper. Now I want to make sure that my next one, this one my back hurts because I'm leaning over and doing all this, and you got to make sure you keep them stretched. Then the next set, I want to make sure they're lined up. They look pretty good. Let me see how they are in my gripper. Make sure I had those painted properly. I have a whole video on how I use henna. When I find a good grip paint, that I'll henna it so that it'll last me a week versus me having to paint this on every day. But that's, once again, extreme. Nobody has to do that. It's just me trying to be more efficient in my practice. So then there it is. I'm just picking it up one more time, making sure that the grip is right where I want it. And that's it. So now I do 3 of those grippers. I got everything ready. Now, this is when I'm consistently setting up my dice. I'm going to do my pickup. So what does that look like? I grab a pair of dice and I set it to the 3-3 on the top. Then it's every time relaxed, on my toes in the right position, working my way up. My knees loose, right? Hips feeling good. I got a little hitch in my step today. I'm feeling it, and then picking up the dice. Now, I'm going to look in front of the mirror, make sure they're completely aligned. Do I have a circle? I do. They're aligned. That's it. That's pickup number 3, and then I'm back. Now, this could be, once again, when we're talking about deliberate practice, right? This is for muscle memory. And this is to ensure that you're picking up those dice the same way each time. I'm setting up those 3s for me and lining them up. You saw my short video of me doing it. That was 1 hour sped up. Now, I'm making sure those are right. My shoulders set, yeah. I'm set up like that. So some of my video, hopefully you're following along with me. I'm making 9 lines of dice so that when I pick up the dice for my placements, that they're ready to go. And it kind of gets my hands loosened up, just this practice. So say you go to a casino, you say you go out to Vegas, right? What do? You got to warm up before you go down there, right? So what I do is I have my, I'll talk about this when you go on vacation or when you're going to the casino and you're staying in a hotel beforehand. I practiced my lifts, making sure my dice are definitely gripping properly. I'm setting the way I want it. All right, so those are my 9 of the pickup. Now the turn. So what am I doing with the turn? If you see a previous video, you can all follow all of, if you're starting out doing this, you can go back and watch the specifics on each of these things I'm working on right now. This is the turn. So this is starting again, making sure my feet, are they balanced? Knees, hips, back, shoulders. All right, I have an arm here so that I overcompensate here. So when I come up on the turn and I turn, I should look up and my shoulders should be perfectly aligned and I'm set. So the turn is the twist that comes like this and then setting those dice. And what am I doing? Once again, transferring the weight to my ledge in the back. I've talked about this 100 times. And then just making sure that my thumb is just holding those 2 dice together, yet they're staying together. So these should be lined up just like a ledge, right? With just making sure that thumb is just touching the top. So I do this, I did that one. I start over. Once again, I know it's crazy, but this is every day and this is deliberate practice, right? Practice isn't always supposed to be fun. I'm going to have fun at the end, but right now I'm just making sure I'm getting my ducks in a row. And I'm getting everything I want out of making sure that the muscle memory is, what do my feet feel like? Am I leaning over? Where am I putting my arm? Do I look centered? Look good there. Look good there. And then do it again. So this is every morning. This is kind of like my warm-up. If you're at the casino and you're practicing, you can dummy it down in your hotel room, and I'll show you that. I throw into the bed, and I just bring my trusty tape measure to ensure that when I'm at the distance of that casino. So when you are going to the casino for the first time, are you measuring off how far SR1, SR2, SR3 is? You can do that with your feet. Usually everybody's feet are almost a foot. You can get a general sense and walk up and down that casino to that craps table and see how far away SR1 and 2 is on every throw. If you're doing that, I usually just walk like this and I go, okay, SR2 is 8.5 feet away. So when I get up to the hotel room, I'm measuring off 8.5 feet, throwing off of a ironing board or a table, and I'm putting a chair here so I can rest my arm, and that's how I'm practicing when I get to a casino. And I just warm up, and first I do my practice grabs, make sure I'm grabbing okay, and then after I practice that and get a little loosen my arms up, I just start sharpshooting on the bed. So that's what I'm doing here. So we're getting the swing, the turn. Let me get back to my turn here. So once again, I got one more left. It's all deliberate practice. Now, you guys don't have to do this for 90 days. I'm doing it just to see, is this going to be worth it for me when I get to Vegas? Is it going to benefit my team? Is it going to benefit me? Am I going to see results that I want? Or is it 30 days and 60 days is all you need? Or if you have a good pattern going, is there something else you can do that make it better? I've been trying to set up for our analysis videos. It's coming up. And I've been very disturbed that I'm not being consistent on my throws and going 30 days in here, that I should be a little bit more consistent.